Welcome to Pie Town, it says on the box, right? I mean, that's what the box literally says. Renegade Games, new worker placement game, spies, lies, and apple pies. Pretty intriguing, right? Cute art style. But there's more to this game than just the regular intriguing. For instance, there's this. First of all, you look at this little box, you think, wow, component quality must be great. It is. But two, this is your secret recipe. You do something different in a worker placement game that I haven't seen before, and it's the idea of you choose your own secret pie recipe to use. Now, the interesting thing is you don't want anybody else to know your secret pie recipe, so as you're making your pies later on in the game, as we'll talk about, you're using your actions from the worker placement game to do these pie making things. You get more points if you make your secret recipe without other people finding it out. That, to me, is a cool mechanic. But is it enough? Is it enough to sell this game to let Pie Town really be as good as, well, people are saying it is? Let's take a look right now. Pie Town. So what's inside Pie Town? Well, here's the thing. You look at the front of the box, you see this QT art style, but one of the things I like to point out is good component quality when it's there. Look at this. Nice boards, right? Multiple types of different boards from your own individual player board as well as the arbor board there, right? All that. But as soon as you take this off, you're greeted with this. Wonderful cloth bag, good feel to it. Good feel to the inside too, doesn't tear your skin, fun fact. And then as well these. As well as the insert where these fit, right? Everybody's also little secret player boards with their character on the front, dry erase markers, and then the rest of the resources. But also, how about this? How about these nice chunky dice? That's right, this is a dice placement game, but look at these nice chunky dice with different symbols, different colors for each player. I love it. Also as purple, always plays purple. Carl always plays as green. Green wins games is what she says. Let's take a look at what the game looks like set up right now. Kind of like this. So this is what the basic setup of the game looks like. Your player board down here with its neat little tokens we'll talk about in a minute. The arbor gets set up. Actually, you take these tokens here from the bag randomly. It's the different fruits. You've got your commons, which are your apples, and then your rares. You've got pumpkins, bananas, and I want to say strawberries. You got pumpkins, apples, and strawberries, and bananas in here. And they go out on this arbor board kind of like this. Like that. So that's what the full arbor looks like. There's 3 fruits on each one of these hexes here. In a 2-player game and a 3-player game, or 2 and 3-player game, you don't use all these side hexes, but I'll put them out there just so you can see them. One of the things you also need to do is select before the game starts, before you set it up, your secret ingredient. So that would be 2 types of apples and a rare ingredient. So the rare ingredients again are strawberries, bananas, pumpkins. The commons are apples. So you pick any 2 apples you want to use and then any of the rare ingredients, and that becomes your secret recipe, which can be changed later on. There's an action to do that. The whole deal is if you sell your secret ingredient, secret recipe, then you actually get more points for it when you sell the pie later. So let's say you put this as your secret ingredient, it's a red apple, green apple, and a pumpkin. You would take this, stick it in your secret recipe box at the beginning of the game. Just neat to even have that instead of having to write it down somewhere. And then you set it to the side. Now, you also have a record here to show what other people might have as their secret recipe, because if you use their secret recipe, it counts as a secret recipe, but also at the end of the game, there's a bonus for knowing the other person's secret recipes. Here is what the board looks like. So your player board here starts with these different items here. You have a storage, which at the beginning of the game, you can hold 8 different fruits in your storage. You have a kitchen here, which shows that when you bake a pie, each pie is worth 1 victory point. Until you upgrade this, then they're worth 2 victory points. You can bake pies once on your turn as an action, or once you unlock this, you can do it twice. That's what these little tokens are for. I'm going to move them for now just so we can see them. Now, the whole point of the idea of the dice is the numbers are important. You start with a 3 and a 2. You will go somewhere with the dice as your action. So this is expand. Expand storage, kitchen, or bake. That's how you get rid of these little tokens that we just talked about. When you go here during the cleanup part of your turn, of the end of the round, you will have to drop this dice number down to a 2. Same for here. If you went here and baked pies, this would actually raise it to a 3. Same over here with the arbor. When you buy fruits from the arbor, it raises it as well. And then this one raises it here. This is 2 actions on this board. but it's one spot but two actions. This side raises it by assigning the new start player. This one lets you change one of the ingredients of your secret recipe, lowers your dice down. So what does it matter if the dice is low? Well, here's the thing. If you have a 1, you can't take this action because you would lose 1. You can't lose 1 from 1. When you're hiring a new worker, you have to have a 3 or better because you couldn't have a 2 or a 1. So you want those dice to be higher to use them. Plus, the number of dice is how many different pies you can bake. Bake the number of pies based on your pips and score the victory points based on that. So you want your dice to be high if you have the ingredients to do it. Also, when you're taking ingredients, you take the number of ingredients from your pips based on the adjacent hexes. So let's just say you went here with a 3. Well, then you could take up to 3 ingredients from any of these 3 hexes. Then your dice would go up to a 4 afterwards. That's the whole point of that. When you go here, you hire a new dice, you would have a 3rd dice to use, and then so on and so on from there. When you bake pies, the way this works is, once you have a certain number of ingredients over here on your storage, you'll then start baking pies. So when you take the bake pie action, you bake the number of pies and score the victory points. So let's say I bake 3 pies here. Well, 2 types of pies would be, or the different types of pies are listed up here. You have a common, rare, rare, and your secret ingredient. These, when you sell them, are worth 2 victory points, 3 victory points, 4 victory points, and 7 victory points apiece. It does not matter what kind of pie you're baking to get the victory points. When you bake pies, you get victory points no matter what. It's when you sell pies, which are these actions down here, which says, if you take this action on the left, you sell all of one column, so that'll be all the pies here, which could score points for the other person as well. And then this one is sell the bottom row, so your bottom row of pies here across all the different types of recipes here. So if you loaded this up with all your pies over here in the secret recipe, it'd be 7 times 4 is 28 points, or 5 actually. Obviously you can only put as many pies as the player count allows. You probably heard that awkward hesitation in the video there. You also gain an additional amount of victory points based on the number of pie you put, or a worker you put there. So if you put a 6 there, you would also get 6 victory points, and you would get to get 2 more ingredients just from the bag, actually 2 more random ingredients. Spent ones go back to the bag, and then you rinse and repeat. Keep going until everyone's completed 9 rounds, and you do the final bake-off. One other action I should mention, you can do what's called spying. Let's just say this person went here with a 1 and took 1 ingredient. Well, then someone else could go over here with a 3 and sit it on top of that action. This is called spying. I want to make sure I get this rule 100% right because it's not used that often, but it says any worker may spy on. So basically what you do is you place your token, your worker on top, and the difference between the 2 workers is the number of secret ingredients that the recipe player may see at random. So you would then have to show, this person would have to show 2 of their secret recipe ingredients to red since they spied on them, hence the whole spies, lies, and apple pies. Once the pies are made, and by the way, these are the pie tokens you use, you would set them up here when you bake them. Once they're made, once they're baked, once you go to the final bake-off, you then again see if you know someone else's pie recipe. If you do know someone else's pie recipe at the final bake-off, you get 4 points for 3 out of 3 correct, 2 out of 3 correct, and then so on, just like that. And that's it. That's the basic game right there of Pie Town. So that's it. That's what Pie Town is. Now here's the deal. We're talking about a very contentious topic, right? The idea of cakes and pies. First of all, cakes are inferior to pies. I've learned this year. My wife makes the most incredible coconut pie, chocolate pie, lemon pie. It's amazing. It was a great year at Thanksgiving. But we were just talking about the fact that all the flavors of the year are gone, right? You're going into January. January's kind of a month, right? But Pie Town at least is a wonderful, refreshing reminder of that awesome time of pies, which comes at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And maybe now I can convince her to make them all throughout the year because my gosh, she made some amazing pies. But pies alone are not good enough to sell this game. Is this game good enough to stand on its own? Well, it's pretty simple. My one gripe is towards the end of the game, because it is 9 rounds long, granted you only have 4 workers, so it's kind of short in that sense, but by the end of it, you kind of you almost run out of actions. You go, well, I guess I can make some more pies or try to sell some pies, because if the pie market's full, it doesn't really do you any good to make more pies. If the arbor is empty, well, you can't go and get more fruits. So you kind of, at some point towards the 8th, 9th round, you start to run out of actions. That being said, I feel like maybe if the game was 7 rounds long instead of 9, it would be a perfect game almost in that sense, because I love the idea, the production quality is there. I love the idea of a secret in a worker placement. I love dice placement games, of course. Obviously, the raising and the lowering of the dice is great. Everything looks pretty in this game. Everything feels normal. You're not going like, that's a real knacky or fiddly bit. No, everything feels normal. It feels absolutely nice. I like the idea of there being 3 separate boards, including your own player board. That's a good touch as well. But it's just one of those things, it feels a little long. Not in time. You don't go, oh gosh, is this almost over? You just go, well, I don't really have anything left to do. You know, are we almost done? So I feel like it's 1 or 2 turns too long there. I like the upgrade action. I think that's cool. It is a great introductory worker placement game though, because there's not a lot of depth in the sense that you don't have to go, oh my gosh, is this like Lisboa? And you know, feel like you're stupid after you play. Of course not, no. It's good. It's at ages 14 plus. It's a good introductory game to worker placement. Plus, again, this idea of figuring out someone else's pies is a really cool concept. I'd like to see that explored a little bit further in something else, or even, you know, an expansion of this where we get a little bit deeper about the different pie recipes. And there's obviously, I think it's 26 different combinations that it could be between the different apples and secret ingredients and all that sort of stuff. So there is a lot of variation, you know, trying to figure it out. But obviously, you're watching your opponent. If when you make a pie, I forgot to mention, when you make a pie, you show all the ingredients together. Just you group all, let's say you make 3 pies. You take all 9 of those ingredients, you just throw them down on the table and you say, okay, I'm making a common pie, a secret ingredient pie, and then a common rare. Well, then it's up to the opponents to go, wait, okay, so we got 2 red apples here, a green apple and a coconut. Or not a coconut, I keep saying that. 2 red apples, a green apple, and a pumpkin, all right? And a strawberry. So it could either be the strawberry or the pumpkin, right? You know it's not the banana at that point because that's the only 2. So it helps you to eliminate it like that. And I like that. I think that's pretty cool, but it's also pretty hard to do if they're constantly making 3 pies. It's almost impossible at that point to figure it out. But that's why you do the spying action over there on the arbor. So that's Pie Town. I think it's a really fun game. It's cute. It's neat. It's a good way to get people into the worker placement genre. Is it the best worker placement game out there? Of course not. But is it good? Absolutely. It's a 7.5 to 8 out of 10, which is fun. It's a really fun little game, and I think you should go check out Pie Town. Renegade Games. They've been doing a really, really great job, and I cannot stress again, the component quality in this game is absolutely beautiful. Those dice are chunky and etched, or whatever that is, where they're inlaid. I don't know. Good dice, good boards, good everything in this game. Very, very pretty. That's Pie Town Renegade Games. I didn't even say it. This is Bryan Drake with the latest retro. Make sure you check out more videos here at the Dice Tower. Looking forward. I think this is video number 75 for us here on the Dice Tower. Had a blast doing it. Thank you for watching. We continue to keep rolling through the new year in 2018. Happy New Year's. We'll see you.